Christy here, Real Fit for Real Life, and I've been doing kind of a discussion on belly fat, how to get rid of belly fat. And I kind of talked about, what we're up against battling belly fat, but now let me talk about diet. You've heard the phrase probably that abs are built in the kitchen, and it is really true. What you put in your mouth is even more important than how many crunches you can do. In fact, building that abdominal muscle actually just adds an extra layer to your midsection. Granted, it's muscle and it can help burn up some of that fat, but it is an extra layer. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't do ab work because it's functional. It helps you to live and move better and be stronger. So I'd rather be a little bit thicker in my middle and have a powerful, strong core. But let's talk about diet. It's very, very overwhelming and confusing because there's so much information out there and there's a lot of different theories. And they come from doctors and dietitians and nutritionists and personal trainers. But keep in mind that a lot of these theories, people like to come up with extreme ideas because they make for good book titles and they make for money and sales. So they're not going to tell you, the solid facts that you've been hearing all your life. They want to tell you whatever is new and crazy and interesting. And it might be based on like one little scientific discovery. Nutritional science is constantly evolving, and so we have to muddle through it all and decide, is this a trend? Is this here to stay? Is this true? Is this true for me? So I'm going to present some theories. These are all just theories. I will tell you what I personally think has worked for me and for other clients. But in the end, you do have to figure out what works for your own body. We are also individual. We are just, crazy masses of DNA and all this different stuff going on. So I never say there's one right answer. You just have to figure out what works best for you. Okay, so here are the theories. One theory, and this is based on a book called Flat Abs Diet, something like that. What they really push is monounsaturated fats, and that you should have a little bit of that every time you eat anything. And then in addition to that, it's pretty much the Mediterranean diet, which is fruits, veggies, legumes, fish, olive oil, whole grains, which is great. And science has shown that the Mediterranean diet is very effective at decreasing heart disease and all of that good stuff. So I don't see anything like wrong or controversial with that. It's pretty much how I eat for the most part. So that's what they're pushing. The monounsaturated fats are your nuts, seeds, chocolate, yay, avocados, olive oil, and that's what you want a little bit of in every meal. And I do that. Everything I eat, I either have to cook in a little bit of olive oil or I top with a little avocado. I like to chase a lot of my meals with a piece of dark chocolate, and I love nuts. So I'm pretty good. I'm getting my monounsaturated fats easily. Do I have flat abs? I'm getting there. Some other theories. Some people say that it's like mandatory that between 3 and 4 p.m. you have protein. And if you do that, then you'll have flat abs. I do that. Don't know if it's working yet, but I do that. Another thing is ball exercises. So for abs, instead of doing traditional sit-ups, using the stability ball, doing Pilates-based moves and yoga-based moves. And I do agree that creates longer, leaner muscle, more like dancer-type abs. And so if that's the physique you want, that's the way you want to be strengthening your abs. Obviously, if you're doing like heavy weighted kind of movements, you're going to get bulkier, more muscular abdominal muscles. Another theory is that you should eat 0 grams of sugar. So no sugar whatsoever. Obviously, that's going to help because it lowers insulin, it increases that glucagon hormone. However, is this realistic? Are you really going to be happy living a life with 0 sugar, like no sugar whatsoever? And there's sugar in fruit. There's sugar in milk. There's sugar in like almost everything. So can you really give up all sugar grams? I really don't think so. But if you can, then maybe you'll eliminate all your belly fat. You will also eliminate all joy from your life. Chewing well. This is just a tip to help prevent bloat. And, having a flat belly is partially you're talking about the fat and then partially talking about being bloated. And that's definitely dietary. What are you eating? The tricky thing is that a lot of the healthy foods are bloat-inducing, cruciferous veggies, eggs, those things cause you bloat, and then they're not necessarily bad for you. So I've talked about anti-bloating measures, but chewing well is one of those things. I also noticed that protein shakes, protein smoothies, because they put air, the blender puts air into it to froth it up, that can make me bloated. So I would much rather chew my fruits and veggies. I'm not one to do like a lot of green smoothies because I'd rather chew my food. I like that process and the textures of my food. I'm a very textural person. So, and I also believe strongly in chewing as a calorie burner and your body having to break it down as a metabolic booster. So just like drinking my calories, what does my body have to do? It doesn't have to work to break it down. So that's my take on it. But people who are on the go and need it convenient and fast, smoothies might be the best option to get your greens and to get your fruits in. So another tip is to use natural sea salt instead of table salt and to avoid high sodium foods, of course, like soy sauce and things like that, because you retain more water with salt. So even though latest research has shown that salt isn't necessarily harmful for most populations, really only hypertensive people need to really stress about salt, you still want to, watch your salt intake. Now there's another train of thought that says, who cares about fat? It's the starchy carbs. So you can eat fat, it doesn't matter if it's saturated, unsaturated, whatever. And they point to like the Eskimos as an example of this, but that you can eat this fat and burn that fat as long as you're not pairing it with starchy carbs. Starchy carbs being pretty much everything that's in the Mediterranean diet, your whole grains, your bread, rice, beans. So it's kind of this whole opposite side of thinking. This pushes egg yolk, grass-fed beef, avocados, raw nuts. So it's almost a paleo type diet that claims to blast belly fat. So a lot of different theories, a lot to muddle through, very confusing. You ask me for answers and I respond with, you go figure it out yourself. I know, nice of me, right? But it is very personal and you have to figure it out. And I really have tried variations of all of this. I really do think I mostly eat the flat abs style, just because I don't, like my stomach doesn't do well with red meat, so I don't eat a ton of red meat. But all this other stuff I eat. Do I have the flattest abs in the world? No, because I also like to enjoy a glass of wine on the weekend or a girly drink, and so that'll go straight to the belly. So watch your alcohol intake, because alcohol has almost as many calories per gram as fat, 7, and fat's 9. So watch your alcohol. That's probably the biggest thing for men with the beer belly. It really is a beer belly. So watch that. For me, it's what time of day are you eating? If you're munching late at night, in my opinion, that goes directly to your belly. So watch how late you're eating it and give yourself a time limit each day. That should help. But really it is, what you're putting into your body really does matter. And in the end, what you need to remember is not to trust a diet or a plan or a book just because the cover shows a model with flat abs and a six-pack. Chances are she genetically has flat abs, and even if she gained some weight, she would probably still have flat abs. She would just kind of get bigger all over. There are certain body types that's just how they are. They have flat abs. Whereas a lot of us who struggle with the belly area, we can lose weight and be like skinny all over, and we're still gonna have a belly. We're never gonna be that model for the flat abs diet, and we can be eating all of this, and we can be exercising more than that cute little model, and it doesn't matter. So at some point you have to learn to love yourself, love your own genetic makeup, love that little belly that you have, eat healthy because it makes you feel good, and stop stressing about the belly. I mean, it will get better. If you're eating healthy, it will get better. But don't worry about it, because I think the more you stress and worry, the more that those cortisol levels go up, and your weight loss goals really suffer. So stop stressing. Just live and love yourself. Thanks for joining me, Christy. Real Fit for Real Life.